Look, I need you to understand something right now. At 11:47 on the night of January 7th, 2026, an email was sent from the Office of the United States Trade Representative. 3 lines, no signature. And that email triggered a chain reaction that cannot be reversed. If you think what is happening between the United States and Canada right now is about dairy quotas or bourbon sales, you have not been paying attention. Subscribe to this channel immediately, because what I'm about to show you will not appear on any mainstream outlet, and you need to see this before the next phase begins. Here is what happened in the 72 hours before Jamieson Greer walked into that congressional hearing. 3 phone calls. The first call went from Washington, D.C. to Bay Street, Toronto's financial district, at 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time. The second call went from Ottawa to Brussels at 2:15 in the afternoon. The third call originated from the Pentagon and terminated at National Defense Headquarters, Canada, at 6:05 in the evening. These were not trade negotiations, these were power plays, and every single one of them happened before anyone in the media knew Greer was even preparing testimony. Now, let me tell you something about that testimony that nobody is reporting. Greer's appearance before Congress was not spontaneous. It was rehearsed 6 times. I have confirmed this with 2 separate sources inside USTR. And here is the detail that matters. In a 9-minute opening statement, Greer used the phrase to a certain degree 4 times. 4 times. That is not accidental repetition. That is bureaucratic code. And the translation is simple. We are preparing for confrontation. Now, here is what you need to understand about Jamieson Greer. He is not the decision maker. He is the messenger. And the people who wrote his talking points, the people who decided what demands to make and when to make them, those people do not testify before Congress. They do not appear on television. Most Americans have never heard their names, but they are the ones running this show. Let me introduce you to the Trade Policy Committee. 17 people, no public roster, no official minutes released to the press. 8 of them come directly from corporate boards, defense contractors, technology companies, agricultural conglomerates. 5 of them are affiliated with think tanks: Heritage Foundation, American Enterprise Institute, Hudson Institute. 4 of them served in previous administrations going back to Reagan. This is not Trump's trade war. This is institutional revenge. This is the permanent trade establishment asserting dominance over a relationship they believe has gotten too balanced, too equal, too respectful of Canadian sovereignty. And here's what makes this dangerous. These people have been planning this confrontation since 2023, long before Trump announced his campaign, long before Greer was even nominated. They have been building the legal framework, the economic justification, the political coalition to force Canada into submission. And Greer's testimony was just the public launch of a strategy that has been in development for 3 years. Now, let me tell you about the other side of this equation, because Canada is not what you think it is right now. Mark Carney is not just some politician who lucked into the Prime Minister's office. This is the former governor of the Bank of England. This is a man who ran monetary policy for the 5th largest economy on earth. He has the personal cell phone numbers of every G7 finance minister. He has relationships with European Central Bank officials. He has direct lines into sovereign wealth funds in the Middle East and Asia. His Rolodex is not a list of donors and party operatives. It is a network of people who control trillions of dollars in capital flows. And Doug Ford, the premier everyone underestimates because he sounds like a small business owner from the suburbs, just hired 3 former United States trade negotiators as advisors, not Canadian trade experts. American negotiators who know exactly how Washington operates, exactly what pressure points exist, exactly how to exploit divisions between the White House and Congress. Canada did not just say no to American demands. They built an entire shadow negotiation apparatus designed to withstand pressure that would have broken previous Canadian governments in 72 hours. But here's the part that should terrify people in Washington. Beijing is watching every single move, and in October 2025, barely reported by Western media, Canada signed a critical minerals agreement with China. 15-year contracts, guaranteed purchase volumes, lithium, cobalt, nickel, rare earths, everything the United States needs for electric vehicle batteries, for defense systems, for the energy transition. And while Washington is demanding access to Canadian dairy markets, China is offering long-term partnerships for the resources that actually matter in the 21st century. The real negotiation is not happening in congressional hearing rooms. It is happening in mining company boardrooms, and the United States is losing. Let me take you back, because what happened in that congressional hearing last week did not start last week. It started in September 2025. And what I am about to show you is a timeline that nobody in the media has connected. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. September 2025, the United States Trade Representative begins what they call informal consultations with the dairy lobby. This is standard procedure, happens all the time, but here is what is not standard. The Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association submits a 147-page complaint to USTR. 147 pages. And the language in that document is not about market access or fair competition. The language is existential threat to American dairy, national security implications, urgent action required, and in the fourth quarter of 2025, the dairy and agriculture lobbying complex spent $12.3 million. $12.3 million in 3 months. That is not normal spending. That is a coordinated campaign. October 2025. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Remember that Ontario advertisement everyone talked about? The one featuring Ronald Reagan explaining why protectionism does not work? The one that supposedly torpedoed earlier trade negotiations? Let me tell you what actually happened. 3 days before that advertisement aired, Donald Trump and Mark Carney had a private phone call. We know this happened because 2 people confirmed it to separate news outlets. And according to one source familiar with the call, it ended with Trump hanging up. The call was that bad. 68 hours later, Doug Ford's advertisement drops during the World Series. 12.4 billion impressions, according to Ford's office. Now, does that sound like a mistake to you? Does that sound like a political accident? Or does it sound like Canada deliberately blowing up negotiations they did not want in the first place? November 2025, Canada announces the Ring of Fire Development Project. $7 billion, critical minerals extraction in northern Ontario, lithium, nickel, chromite, everything needed for batteries and advanced manufacturing. And here is the detail nobody reported. The consortium developing this project does not include a single American company, not one. The partners are a European Union consortium and Japanese trading houses. The day after that announcement, the Pentagon held a classified briefing for the Senate Armed Services Committee. The official summary remains classified, but a leaked single-sentence summary reached my desk. Quote, strategic resource access at risk, end quote. The United States military just realized that the materials they need for defense systems are being locked up by agreements that exclude American participation. December 2025, Mark Carney makes a personnel move that got almost no attention because it happened on Boxing Day when American media is not paying attention. He promotes Kirsten Hillman to Deputy Prime Minister. You may not